So, in the story that Betsy read to us, Lot notices that there are strangers in town. And being a religious person, Lot understands that when strangers show up, he has some godly requirements. Lot understands that his religious responsibility to welcome the strangers, to tend to and to protect wanderers, aliens, and immigrants, to see that they have rest, refreshment, and that they're protected and treated justly. And a familiar phrase is, by doing this, you might be entertaining angels, and while being totally unaware. That's probably a phrase you've heard before. We welcome the stranger because we recognize we might be welcoming an angel without realizing it. So these God-given instructions, here comes Leo with his cute little haircut. These are God-given instructions which are repeated throughout the Bible. They're in Deuteronomy, they're in Genesis, they're in Leviticus, and they run all the way up into and through the New Testament. It's an obligation. It's a God-given responsibility to welcome the strangers. And that's what Lot does. Welcomes the strangers into the city and then invites them home to his house for rest and refreshment. Now, earlier in the story, the point was made that Sodom was a comfortable, it was a modern, it was a sophisticated city, and that there was also wickedness and evil in the midst. So when Lot welcomed the stranger, evilness also showed up. Lot welcomed the stranger, and wickedness violated the principles of hospitality. And what the story said was that all of the men in the city showed up at Lot's house, banged on the door, and said, "Send those strangers out here so we can know them." Now, there's two interesting parts to this story. Number one, it's interesting that in the New Revised Standard Interpretation of the Bible, which is thought to be the most scholarly, the most accurately translated from Hebrew into English, it says all of the men showed up. And the second part that's interesting is that phrase, "Send the strangers out here so we can know them." So that we can know them is, in the Old Testament, a way of saying sexual intercourse. Actually, in the Old Testament, there's two phrases that refer to sexual intercourse: knowing and also uncovering someone's feet. So, all of the men in the city show up at Lot's door, bang on it, say, "Send those strangers out here so we can know them." What's really happening? What's going on in this story? Why are they banging on the door? Is it because all of the men in town are homosexuals? Could that even be possible? Or is it because they are all violating the laws